Thank you, and what a great gathering. I can't believe it's 50 years ago that Title IX was passed. So let's give a shout out for Title IX and all the people behind it. And I'm sure those legislators and those champions behind the enactment of the law would be celebrating with this today, but cautiously. Because after 5 decades, the promise of the 37-word statute still hasn't been realized. Title IX was enacted as a follow-up to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And Senator Birchby in the Senate, who was a staunch supporter of the Equal Rights Amendment and feared it would not become law, was determined to find a way to elevate females in our country. He knew access to education, and that was the primary purpose of this legislation, was the avenue, and it is credited with drafting the follow 37 words to success for women. He was inspired by the work of an activist, Bonnie Sandler, and legislative leaders in the House, Patsy Mink and Edith Green. The 37 words are this: no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any educational program or activity receiving federal assistance. The passage of Title IX was a seminal moment in our nation's history, one that forever changed how girls and women would experience life in the United States. Title IX unleashed the potential of generations of girls and women to take their place in our country as leaders in the highest levels of education, public office, in boardrooms, in courtrooms, and on the playing fields of sport. However, while the Title IX sponsors realized that women and men could and should compete head-to-head in the classroom, elevating and empowering women in sports had to take place in separate, protected, and evolving spaces, and they're still evolving. Spaces that build confidence, motivate success, and offer opportunities for athletes to use their hard-won visibility to speak out about issues such as mental health, harassment, discrimination, equal pay, and more. Truth is that although Title IX has mostly fulfilled its promise in regard to access to education, in fact, if looking back in 1972, only 8% of women held an undergraduate degree in college. That's incredible. Only 8% in 1972. And now 39% do. Yes, access to sports scholars. You can help me out here. And programs for women in both high school and universities has been a battleground. Promptly after the enactment of Title IX, when the NCAA as well as the athletic directors and male college coaches realized Title IX mandated access for women in sports. After all, I went to UCLA and Pauley Pavilion certainly didn't have a women's locker room. Senator Tower introduced a bill to exempt revenue-producing sports, thus initiating 5 decades of legal and legislative attacks to weaken regulations under the law. The lesson here is that Title IX has not only survived and thrived because many of us, some of us here in this room, who have been diligent in understanding the law, its vulnerability, and have been proactive in establishing and supporting networks to support and protect and advocate for its survival. In 1972, think about this, only 1% of college sports budgets were allowed to women. Around 50,000 men at that time attended university on sports scholarships compared to how many women? Just 50. In high school, only 1 in 27 girls participated in sports. Since the enactment of Title IX, the number of girl athletes has increased to 2 in 5, or over 3.4 million. In college, the number has grown from 30,000 to 220,000. In addition, this law is credited with decreasing the dropout rate for girls in high school, which in turn has motivated them to pursue degrees in higher education. And so what's the landscape now? Even though our women shine during the Summer Olympic Games, and on the collegiate level, our basketball players and soccer stars have built a pathway to professional leagues, and women on the collegiate level still lose out, even though we've had this progress, over $1 billion in support in the way of access to facilities, recruiting dollars, coaching, and overall support. And in high school, our young female students lose out on over 250,000 of participation opportunities. Our findings also lay bare the impact of Title IX, confirming how sports participation not only boosts health outcomes significantly, but also leads to increased self-esteem, higher graduation rates, better job placement, accelerated social mobility, and newfound empowerment. Case in point, a recent Ernst & Young study reported that 94% of women holding corporate C-suite positions have participated in competitive sport, half of whom played in college. In short, athletic participation provides women with the tools necessary to flourish in a competitive world, from learning goal setting and respecting adversaries to honoring codes of conduct and blossoming into natural leaders. Sports equip women for long-life success. I want to thank Renata and the LA84 Foundation for their hard work, for those trailblazing women, and for all of you, and for convening all of you here. The women that have protect Title IX have paid it forward, enabling their modern contemporaries to enjoy a brighter future. Thank you.